If you have ever had one of these two thoughts or heard one of these two things said, then this is going to be the episode for you. So, thought number one is this, that it's going to take 6 to 8 hours to write a really good blog post. Or two, the other side of the ditch is that you have to use AI to keep up with your blog creation. Now, I'm going to teach you real down and dirty in this podcast how to blog smarter, not harder, and walk you through my 95-minute content creation routine. And y'all, it works. It works really dang good. And I'm a busy mom of 3 and we homeschool. So if it works for me and I have a podcast and a YouTube channel, it can work for you too. Hey there, fellow entrepreneur. Welcome to Simple SEO and Marketing. Do you want to grow your business with sustainable traffic sources? Have you heard about the power of search engine optimization and you want to take advantage of it to get more traffic, more eyeballs on your business? But when it comes down to it, does SEO feel complicated and hard to implement? Are you tired of wondering what in the heck to do with your website to get more traffic and more leads knocking on your door? What if I could tell you that there was a simple, proven system for using SEO, blogging, and copywriting to get leads from your website, and not just any leads, high converting leads. Hey, I'm Faith Hannon, wife, mama, copywriter, SEO strategist, and barrel racer. And for the last 8 years, I've been figuring out what works and what doesn't work in the world of online marketing to get organic traffic. And now I'm here to share all the things I'm learning in the trenches of SEO, copywriting, and content marketing. How does 300%, 500%, or even 12,000% more traffic in a year sound? What could your business do with that kind of traffic increase? How many more people could you help? So listen in and prepare to take notes. I'm about to drop simple, actionable SEO marketing and copywriting tips, all with a heavy dose of Jesus-loving encouragement. Let's get you more traffic and more leads so you can help more people with your God-given gifts. So I remember when I first started blogging, it did legit take me 8 hours to write and publish one blog. And mind you, that blog didn't get found or read by anybody except my mom and maybe one of my best friends, right? Like, it was not optimized for SEO. It was not going to get found with search engines. I didn't know anything about, HTML markup or anything like that. I just knew how to write. And the writing part was actually really easy for me. I've always been a really great writer naturally, or a great communicator. Like, writing has always come very easily to me. And so it wasn't the writing part, right? It was all the other stuff. The images and naming things and graphic. I mean, it was just so much that it really did take me 6 to 8 hours to write one blog. And now, 90 minutes. 90 minutes is my average, okay? Now, what's changed? Well, you get better the more you do something. 2, I've gotten some really, really, really great systems, okay? And so what I'm going to walk you through today is how those systems work. Now, I need you to know some of this stuff, some of this like life stuff, so that you'll know why these systems are set up the way they are and why they have to work, okay? So I feel like I have become a full-blown content creation machine. I started a YouTube channel this past spring, so that takes a poop scoop of time. I have this podcast, which I love, and then I also blog, right? On top of that, we have a client side of my business. So I write for clients as well, and then I run a team, okay? And at the moment of recording this, I don't have a nanny. I don't have anybody that comes to my house and watches my kids on a regular basis. So I'm working around the nap time hustle and when my husband gets home from work. And at the time of this recording, I'm only getting like a couple of evenings a week to work a couple hours a week. Like, I work maybe 15 hours a week on most weeks, unless I'm in launch mode, and then it's closer to 20. And in the middle of all of this, I just hired 3 new part-time contractors. So there's onboarding, there's, checking work, double checking work. Like, there's a lot of things that go on in my business other than just writing blogs. And I'm certain that it's the same for you as well. So first, I'm going to walk you through the flow of blog creation, And then I'm going to break down the time that I allocate to each stage of that, right? So first things first is an idea. I don't do keyword research first. I tried it for like a minute and then I felt really boxed in and it just wasn't fun. It took the fun out of content creation for me. So I come up with an idea on my own. Ultimately, I feel like it actually leads to better content because as the human, I'm thinking, how can I serve another human with content? Like, how can I actually help them with this thing? But ideation, coming up with an idea, is the first step of this process. And in that, I'll usually come up, I'll get the topic and the rough draft title of the content, right? Like I know what I want to say. And so I'm like, oh, this is the thing I want to say. And I've done this for so long and I have such a great titling system that coming up with the title is pretty easy right from the get-go. We refine it later, but I usually have a decent rough draft title. So I've got my idea and then like my general topic, right? So from there, then I create a rough outline. So if I'm thinking about 5 points to, help somebody stay in the middle of their horse better, right? Then I've already got those points churning around in my head when I come up with that idea. And so my outline is just going to be those 5 points so that I have them out of my head onto paper. And if I have to wait a minute to create the content, I don't forget what I was thinking. Okay. So idea, topic, and outline. Now, typically what I'll do is I will batch this part of the system like for a month or even 2 months of content at a time because the ideas are rolling. I'm just thinking about things. I'm writing them down. I put them on my master content list and then they're there. And then at a later date is when I really finalize and flesh out the rest of the content. So the next step is my rough draft. And I will take that outline and I'll write a really great introduction. I'll fill in and the outline and beef it up and make it, a full-fledged blog instead of just 5 bullet points, right? And that rough draft stage is usually, spoiler alert, that usually only takes me about 30 minutes, okay? Then, depending on the topic, I will either do keyword research before the rough draft or after the rough draft because I want the ideas out of my head to flow pretty naturally. And I've done keyword research for my business and for clients' businesses, depending on who I'm writing for. I've already done a ton of keyword research before I actually sit down to write. So I know what my keyword strategy is. Now, do I have all my specific blog keywords planned out for the next 5 years? No, silly. Sure don't. I am not that on top of it yet, So usually after the rough draft, I'll pop into Ubersuggest, make sure that my keyword idea that I have in my head is actually searched. If not, I'll find something that fits. And then I will work the keyword into the rough draft, okay? So then if it is a Rank IQ blog, one that I'm really, really, really trying to zhuzh up and make a big kahuna blog, then it does take me about an extra hour. Rank IQ is a very robust tool. It's going to help you write really, really, really great content. But not every keyword needs that kind of attention. Not every search query is worth that much of your time and money investment. So if it's a Rank IQ blog, I'll write the rough draft and then hop into Rank IQ. Again, if it warrants it, okay? And then after I write the Rank IQ parts of it, after I make Rank IQ happy, then I'm going to walk away for at least 24 hours before I proofread it and get the final draft. Now, if you haven't used Rank IQ, I do have an affiliate link in the description. It's actually a really great tool. I've used it for a while now, and members of my Simple SEO framework and group coaching, they get tutorials on how to use these tools as I prove them out. So I don't teach about a lot of tools that I'm trying, to the quote public to y'all until I've tried them out. But members inside of my Simple SEO framework and group coaching, they get tutorials on how to use whatever tools I'm using so that they're staying current with what's actually working and learning right along with me. So Rank IQ blog in the description, okay? So I've got my proofread final draft, right? make sure that everything sounds right. Hopefully I can send it off to my editor. And then I'm going to SEO spit shine it up. I'll take my final draft that I've written in Google Docs. I'll copy and paste it into my blog in WordPress. And I'll go through in WordPress and I'll edit the headings, and I'll make sure that I have, 60% of my H2 headings have my keyword. I'll make sure that my images are appropriately named. I'll make sure that my images have the right file size. I will go through my blog publication checklist that I also give to my students, and I'll make sure that every part of that blog is optimized for SEO. It's optimized to get found on search and obviously still serve people. Then it's published or scheduled out to publish, and it's done. So time blocks, how long does all of this take? Okay, so I mentioned before that I really like to batch plan. I like to batch work in general, but batch planning is really, really important, because once you're in that frame of mind and you're thinking about your launch schedule, your life schedule, your, what your content needs to work on for you in each month of your business, right? Once you're in that headspace, plan more than one piece of content, please and thank you. You will thank yourself later. So planning the content doesn't really take me much time because I batch work. And even if I don't have the time to batch work out all the pieces and parts, I will pretty much always batch plan my content. So maybe planning takes an additional 5 minutes to make sure that, I still want to write about this. Okay. Then keyword research takes me anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes. And yes, that is a literal 2 to 5 minutes. Outlining takes me maybe 15 minutes, because remember, when I've planned out this content, I've also jotted down my ideas. Now, there's obviously some additional research, and depending on your industry, you're going to have more research than others, right? But writing out the outline maybe takes me 15 minutes, probably closer to 5. And then 30 minutes of writing the rough draft. Once you have the idea, you have the outline, writing the actual blog does not take much time at all, okay? Then if it's a Rank IQ blog, it takes me an additional 30 minutes to 1 hour to use all the LSI keywords that I can, to write the length that Rank IQ suggests. Like, that does add time. And then about 15 minutes of proofreading, 30 minutes to upload and optimize. And then depending on how you repurpose, depending on how many different places you're trying to be successful on, how many different platforms, your repurposing strategy is obviously going to add on top of that 90 minutes. But honest to goodness, 90 to 95 minutes for the whole dang thing. And this process works for my writers that write for me and my students as well. And if you're wanting to know how this timestamp workflow works within my whole system, go ahead and jump on into the free training, More Leads in Less Time. It's linked at faithhannon.com/more leads. And I walk you through the system that I used to get more leads in less time, because obviously you can't just write one blog. You have to have things set up correctly and make sure that you are set up for long-term success. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today, and we'll be back with you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening in today. Hopefully this episode gave you some really tangible tips for better SEO and marketing to get more leads and more sales from your website. If it did, can I ask you a quick favor? Would you please share this episode with a friend, and then just take 10 seconds and go leave a written review on Apple Podcasts. That is the very best way to help more Jesus-loving entrepreneurs scale their businesses so that they can help more people with their gifts and make an even bigger impact for the kingdom of God. And guess what? We now have a Facebook community where we can learn, hang out, and laugh. Go join the Facebook group now. It's linked in the show notes. And all the other things, courses, coaching, and copywriting, can be found at my website, faithhannon.com. Until next time, God bless, and I'll talk to you soon.